Hello everyone and welcome to the newbie lesson from Nobody Cares. We are speaking about the classes, and particular we are speaking about the Paladin now. Paladin is your basic tanking class you're getting at the start of the game, and just because it's a basic class, it's not a bad class. It's even a pretty good tanking class. It has clear advantages and disadvantages, and we will go above the advantages, the disadvantages, and how the skills work, how combos look, and so on. We will just go over PvE here, no PvP stuff. Okay, let's start with the abilities. For starters, don't be scared away by the amount of combos you can do. They are actually not that much needed. The only thing that is really interesting for us is the restoring of our resources with 4 times left click. The other stuff is pretty much optional and is not that much needed. You can still survive without doing anything of it. Of course, if you want to improve your play, you should look deeper into the combos, but it's not as much needed. So a short overview, what it does. Seal of Light is a strike in front of you that deals more damage to enemies that have high hit points. The next thing is Punishing Bolt. It's a lightning strike from above that does extra damage if your impulse charge is up. So the next thing is Divine Scourge, where you have an AoE effect around you that deals more damage. Some more enemies are around you. But like I said, it doesn't really compile to your skills as a whole if you are just about tanking. So what is really interesting for us is gaining our energy back, like I said, with the left click combos. And the next thing that is way more interesting is Wave of Wrath. That's charging attack where you hold the right mouse button and knock down enemies that are weaker. With weaker, it means that they are no elite. Elites are enemies that have more HP bars than just one. And the lower the enemy in the ranks are, of course, the lower they are knocked down. So enemies that don't have any particular sign about their head, just swarm enemies, they stay down longer, and the one with a knife, with an eye, or with a shield applied to them, they have a shorter knockdown duration, but at the end it's still a good crowd control. It combines pretty good with our one, where we charge from a distance to the target and deal more damage the more distance we charge, up to 600%. It pulls every hostile monster in a 12 meter, not yard radius towards us, and forces them to attack us for 3 seconds. The next thing we have is Celestial Shield. The Celestial Shield is a shield that you are applying to yourself, and this shield absorbs a certain amount of your health as damage, and it lasts for 10 seconds. When the shield is destroyed before it expires, it deals damage to nearby enemies and is stunning them. The next thing we have is our Verdict. This is a ranged attack that chains between enemies, deals a good amount of damage, and has a higher aggro value. From time to time we can achieve the activation of extra attack that makes the Verdict free, and with this you gain an extra damage spike, and this is the only time when we will use it because of our energy management. The next thing is the 4. This is the Acres of Light. The Acres of Light is a skill applied to you that makes you invulnerable. Also, the ally around you that has the lowest HP for 4 seconds. So the normal combo for negating damage as a paladin would look like you use your shield, and after that you either dodge and wait 2 seconds, activate your Aegis of Light, or you are just doing your shield, chain it directly into Aegis of Light, and dodge 2 seconds after. Because, like I said, it's 10 seconds here, and it's 4 seconds here, so you can actually chain it together that with 2 seconds of dodging, you are pretty much not getting damage to your health at all, or at least pretty low amounts. So next thing is Wave of Holiness. This is a AoE aggro spell that needs to be held down, the key, and it will channel effect on an area that deals damage per second. This is good for aggro and also forces them to attack you, but it makes you also vulnerable. It will only be used to aggro like ads that are suddenly spawned and you need to get control of them, for example if your one isn't available. The next thing is the Holy Ground. The Holy Ground isn't that much. Use it because you are basically not dealing damage with your combos, and you are not using anything energy consuming while tanking. It can be used if you are having the cash weapon for the Paladin from the Reapers. That would make it that you have a stronger attack that you can further amplify, and also would make it possible for you to heal back on the ground. So Ultimate basically is a spell that removes negative effects of you, teleports you to a target, gives a small amount of damage there, and makes it possible to create a second area of Holy Ground, so you can chain them together if you have the cash weapon, but it isn't really a thing that is oftenly done, so pretty much it's most of the time ignored. The Finishing Strike regains you a certain amount of energy and a small amount of health. So other things that needs to be spoken about because they're important is that you have this passive where you actually generate 4 times more aggro than everyone else in your group. So it's like you're doing 4 times damage to make clear where the aggro goes. And your shields are 100% more effective, so you don't make a shield of 70% of your health, you make a shield of 34% of your health. That's a great value and will save you a lot of time. It makes your shield really durable. The other thing is this, the Scourge. It makes it possible that if your health drops to 20%, you regain 40% of your health. But this only can be used every 3 minutes, so be cautious. The other stuff is just for the attacking, and that's not really that great. So, let's see, we are doing our combos now, so let's get a bit practical. For starters, we are charging in with our 1. They all get pulled in. We hold the World Mass button to stun them. We apply our shield, so we absorb the damage they deal to it. We can now, when the shield ends, just dodge a bit, chain it into our invulnerability, and when this ends we can reapply our shield. While this comes up, we can also again start to CC them. Dodging a bit, go into invulnerability, shields come up, CC them again. As you can see, it's pretty much a basic thing. Although I'm surrounded by enemies, I really get any damage. And that's how you actually tank enemies that can be crowd controlled. There's a difference. If I don't do it, it looks like that if I get hit. So now if you have the cash weapon, you can activate your Holy Ground, and now you healing against with the force hit combo, and also it deals a great amount of damage compared. When you're like saying you have lost the aggro or something, you can also use the Waves of Holiness. They are disturbing lower enemies and they make them aggro you. Small finishing strike. Oh, and that's it. That's how you tank groups of CC evil enemies. Now I will move on to a boss fight, and when we are at the boss fight, I will come back to you. Okay, Ron, we are back at the boss, and now we are talking about how we tank an enemy that can be CC'd or a boss in particular. We will start with our shield straight up and charge right in. He's taunted to us. We are doing our normally combos. When our shield comes up, we go in the dodging range. We are activating our invulnerability. We are dodging the skills that would otherwise hit extremely hard. Charging up our energy again. Throw in the free attacks. Chain it with our invulnerability again. Activate our shield again. Pretty much use our the moment we have the ability to do so. We are dodging again. Chaining our skills together. As you can see, the boss isn't capable of actually doing anything to me, and I would constantly have the aggro because I'm spamming the aggro skills on him and I'm chaining my abilities so that he is constantly under fire. If you have the weapon, you can use the Holy Ground in between to heal yourself up if you should take damage, what you should, and it shouldn't happen all too often. And by doing that, you can regain the health you lost and deal a big chunk of damage more. So if you're facing enemies that are coming as additional spawn to the boss, you need to control them, and you have your 1 on cooldown. The best way is to activate your shield and then press your Waves of Holiness to actually gain aggro of them. Pull them again with your upcoming one, and then go on with chaining your skills. It should be pretty much safe that your team now has killed the enemy, and you can go on. If I, for example, don't evade or don't use skills, you can see I take a good amount of damage from him. It's about the same as I get from normal enemies. But if I don't evade this stuff, for example, my invulnerability procs because he would pretty much have 2-shot at me. So try to chain your skills correctly, stay alive, and dodge big hitters. So we spoke about at the start about advantages and disadvantages of Paladin. Well, one of the big disadvantages are chained to his aggro skills. While some of the most bosses can be tanked in melee, there are some bosses that need you to stay more away for evading damaging pools, or they have random aggro skills that make them attack a party member and you need to get them back to you by actually using an aggro skill like your 1 or your C. The thing with both of them is that you don't have a real choice how to use them. They are only effective if you are in range. Like if I'm away from it like this, then I'm using the Wave of Holiness, he doesn't get affected at all. As you see, no damage, no taunt. So if I would need to take a distance from him, I can taunt him back with that. And our one, as you know, is a charge, so it would always bring us in melee range, and that is pretty bad for some of the bosses you will face. So the main reason you are preferring the Knight over the Paladin in many cases is that it's more flexible. You can control easier where the aggro will go, and can take it from afar, for example. It's also way easier to actually move a target. If I now move to here, of course I have the aggro and he will at some point move to me. But if I'm so far away and I don't have the aggro and I want him to come to me, I need to aggro him in melee range as a paladin, and this is a big disadvantage sometimes. So that's the disadvantages of the paladin for the most case. Also, one thing the paladin doesn't do that well is control of constantly spawning new waves. As you see, if we use our control tools, charge it, right click, we have 13 seconds cooldown on doing it again, so weaker enemies that respawn can't be controlled by us for 13 seconds. It isn't a long duration, but if you need to take control over a wave of enemies that are appearing in a short amount of time, you can't do it that good. So that's the reason, or let's say that's the disadvantages of Paladin. I hope you could take something out of it and have a good time. Oh, before I just send you off, of course the Paladin has a huge disadvantage. As you can see, a Knight would have taken plenty of damage in the meanwhile where I'm standing here, because he doesn't shield himself regularly. He can only do it with a limited amount of skills, and I can pretty much chain invulnerability and shield so together that I don't get damage at all. So that's that. So be aware of the advantages and disadvantages of your classes. Also, don't declassify a paladin as a bad class just because he's a starter class. He's a good tank and can be put to use in your groups. I hope you could take something out of it and have a nice day. See you around.